Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back once again to Gran Turismo 7 as we continue with my NTRL Racing League. This time it's going to be round 2 for the Classic Mini Cup. Now this is a purpose-built Mini Cooper that I've built myself and spec'd out and regulated. However, we can customize specific parts such as the suspension, things like the gear ratios and such. So there is a bit of customizable element there. If we look back at round 1, we had Alexander and Turbo Boy leading the way at the top of the standings, battling it out through the entirety of the Big Willow battle. And then we do have a few other faces around, so the likes of Jayce, Archangel, who's also going to sadly miss around alongside Alexander this time, all battling away for points. So it should be good for round 2. There is a few faces missing, but there is a few returning as well. So definitely should be some good action. Now first and foremost, we're going to have a head on to track with our safety car. This is going to be Sardegna Layout C. A bit of a technical track. It's very quick, very short, but there's some very awkward corners there. Now this is the Sardegna that we all know in terms of the first corner. So you've got that awkward left hand corner that can really catch you out in the gravel if you just run it a little bit too deep into there. Now, as usual with layout A, you're going to carry on to this little straight section here. However, instead of doing a left-right, you're just going to do the left and head down into one of the fastest sections of the track. Left-hander here really can catch you out in the front-wheel drive cars, because if you overshoot it, you're going to end up slapping yourself into the barrier. Into the fast section now, and you want to be absolutely flat out through here, heading up left onto the curb before heading right and getting ready for the final corner, which is this very awkward hairpin. You actually want to run it wider than you actually think. If you cut on the inside far too soon, you're not going to get a good run down the straight, and then obviously, well, you're going to power on all the way down the straight. So that is our Renault safety car basically completing the lap, and where to realistically look out for in terms of the action. So we're going to have race 1. It's a 2-race meeting. Obviously we have our standard grid from qualifying, and then we have our reverse grid after that, and it's going to be Turbo Boy who does take us away from pole, but he's almost instantly going to drop all the way back to the rear of the grid. So up front, it's our other Scotsman, Jayce, who takes the lead, followed by Dan and myself as the top 3. We also have the likes of Jody up there with TCR Nizam and Dave as well, all battling away for points. Now, like I said, there's a couple of drivers missing from round 1, the likes of Archangel and Alexander, who was really pushing up there in the points last time. Both missing, so they will be coming back in the future, I believe. They're just kind of away for this meeting. It is drop points overall, but I'm sure they'll be able to kind of work their way up through the grid for the next round, as hopefully the grid continues to grow. So if we look through the field, as you can see, all the cars nice and close. The Turbo's all the way down in P7 currently, and we do look like we have Jody that's had a bit of an off there at the awkward left-hander that takes you down the hill. So I'm just wondering why she's dropped quite a bit back, and that's the only thing I can really think of, as she was quite a way up there to begin with, as we have Dave go all the way out wide there in the background, and up front it's going to be myself and Dan battling away for P2 as we go door to door and begin bumping each other. Now there is going to be a bit of inner Kimi Velocini coming along later on, which you'll probably see. This is one of the more relaxed leagues. People don't necessarily take it more seriously. It's just kind of like the karting league, really. We just come to kind of chill out, relax, and just have a bit of a fun time as a group. So if you do see us being a little bit more dirty than usual with each other, it's just mainly because we do kind of like to mess around in these kind of leagues, with the main ones taking place on the weekend of the other week. So yeah, you might see a bit of kind of door-to-door banging and such. It's just because we're, you know, a bit more laid back for this one, as we see Turbo going off there and you know, losing some more time to the cars in front, as we have Nissan in P5 doing a fantastic job in the rather retro looking Mini. Now we're going to go on to lap 6 now, and the battle between myself and Dan is going to continue on as we run all the way down in the slipstream down the main straight. It's the main thing you want to be doing realistically, is getting a nice good toe off of your friend in front, because it does allow you to reach much higher top speeds, considering the top speed of this Mini is rather quite slow, around about 100 miles per hour, around about 103 to 105 if you're running in the toe. So what we're going to do is try and basically just tow each other along to try and catch up with Jayce, who's had a massively quick start and he's managed to build up a very, very good gap, considering the rest of the field is just really battling it out or kind of running themselves into the gravel. And Dan is going to then do that at the left-hander there, get himself a little bit wide. He's going to lose a position there, and that's going to drop him down to P3, which is probably going to be quite frustrated about, considering he had plenty of pace with that 108.575. Now we're going to go to the back of the grid, and we've got Steve, Tony and Jody all battling it out over positions. It's looking like it's going to be a battle for P8 here, and Jody's going to see an opportunity here just to jump straight down the inside of both cars and take that away from both of them. So going from 10th and making a double move in a single corner. So great move by her as she continues to basically improve her pace round by round, having a very, I guess, a much better round in the minis and the karts, especially throughout the kind of midweek races. Shikart, he's then going to have a bit of an off. He is returning for this one, so he wouldn't have been in the previous race, but he is back. He's got plenty of pace to bring with him as Turbo Boy goes through there into P4 and continues to try and charge himself back through the field. Now we're going to have a bit of a battle between Dave and Nizam going on throughout the kind of midfield positions here. Nizam's going to try and get it down the inside in that very classic looking mini bright yellow. You cannot miss it. It looks absolutely awesome, and it's great to see it on the grid. So there he goes down the inside of Dave. Plenty of respect by both of them there to let the move happen, and it is going to continue a little bit later on. So next up we're going to carry on to lap 11, this time with the front of, well, I guess the front part of the field really, as Dan is going to have another off sadly, and that's going to cause him to lose more time and probably lose his position to Turbo. So Turbo's getting a very, very quick run down the hill. He's going to use the tow to pull him along back up the other side of the hill. Is he going to be able to get it? He's gone outside, Dan's gone inside. Who is going to come out better? It should realistically be Turbo. He's got it down the inside there, looking like he's just managed to hang Dan wide there. Is Dan going to be able to get the switch back? Not looking like he's going to get it just yet, but he is going to tow himself all the way down the straight. There you go, bumping into each other. So Dan is going to have the tow all the way down the straight. Is that going to allow him to get that move done once again on Turbo going into turn 1? It's a very, very long straight in these Mini Coopers. It feels like it goes on for an absolute eternity. So he is closing up. He's going to try and go to the outside here. Is he going to try and do a bit of a cutback once again? So Turbo's going to defend that inside line. He's going to take himself out wide, whereas Dan does the complete opposite, and he's not going to quite get that move pulled off there. Again, we're going to return to the battle between Dave and Nizam as they continue to battle it out over P6. So very good to see that there's battles throughout. Nobody really racing on their own, apart from Tony really in this race, who kind of just drops off from the rest of the field. But he is going to make that up in race 2, which you'll see one of probably the best defenses I've ever seen, especially from a bronze rated driver, which was absolutely awesome. So Dave and Nizam once again going head to head into the left-hander. Nizam has the inside line. Is he going to be able to make this one work? Dave going for the switch back there. He's going to get it down the inside on the run down the hill. Just got to try and avoid those walls. If you get it wrong through there, you're going to lose a ton of momentum. He does barge his way through there past Nizam. Absolutely great move, and Dave does take that position. So awesome battle in between these pair over P6, so great to see. So the winner of race 1, a very quiet race for him and a win by a massive margin really. It goes to Jayce, his first win in a long time. P2 to myself. P3 Turbo Boy finally making them positions up after dropping all the way back. P4 goes to Dan, and P5 goes to Shikata, who makes his first appearance in the mini league. P6 goes to Dave after a great battle with Nizam in race 1, and obviously P7 is going to go to TCR Nizam, so well done to him once again for a great showing in NTRL. Onwards next to P8, and that's going to be Jody after she took the position away from Tony and Steve. Steve coming P9 in his Iron Maiden liveried Mini Cooper, so great result for Jody there. Very, very good double overtake. And finally in P10 and last place is going to go to Tony, who takes a first debut finish in the Mini Cooper class. Now, fastest lap of that race went to Turbo Boy, as pretty much expected. The guy's got plenty of pace when he finally got that mini working of a 1:08.412. So well done to him for the bonus point for fastest lap, as well as the bonus point for pole position. At least gives him a few more points, even if he did kind of drop back early on due to some mismatched gear ratios. So yeah, he'll probably be quite happy to take away 2 extra points there from race 1. And next we're going to move on to race 2, and this is going to be where we're going to basically unleash our inner Kimi Velocini, the man, the myth, the legend himself. So as you can see, it's reverse grid for this one, and Tony's going to take us away from pole position, and he's going to absolutely launch himself up that field, hoping to get away from everyone. And he is going to do that and hold himself very, very well as having to essentially hold off one of our league's fastest drivers a little bit later on in a few laps time. So massive well done to him, and that is going to actually give him the driver of the day, just for the absolute guts it took to hold off these drivers for so long after having such a rough race one and being so far off the pace. It's almost just like him and the Mini just completely gelled together for this second race. We also have Jody up there, who's just a little bit back from Steve and Tony up front there, so there's a little bit of a gap forming. It's going to be those two up front and pulling away from the rest of the field. Jody's going to lead away the second pack, as you can see, and then there's kind of a little bit of a gap to the back of the field, which is going to be Nizam and Jayce currently. So going into the left-hander, who is going to come out better? Who really knows? We're going to have a look later on. Jody taking a bit of a weird line through there as Shikata bumps off of my Mini, and we're going to kind of, you know, begin a bit of a drag battle down the main straight as we both kind of fight for Jody's slipstream there. She moves out of the way, and it essentially causes a big tow train, which is happening quite a lot here. So on to lap 2, and the battle's going to continue as we're going to pretty much go about 5-6 cars wide into these corners. It's just absolutely ridiculous how many Minis you can squeeze through there, and that is going to allow us to gain a few more positions as we continue our own charge through the field, with Dan just in front and Turbo Boy as well, as Dave also gets involved in the battle there, as you saw him just running a little bit wider into that corner. Up front, and we've got Shikata. He's then going to make a move on Steve there. He's going to get that move done, so massively decent move there, and a decent defense drive by Steve, but he just couldn't quite hold it off. And well, it's going to get a little bit worse from here as we go door to door there, just trying to get it through the right hander, and then well, it's just all going to go to complete, I can't really say the word I want to say, but yeah, he's basically going to barrier himself, and that's going to drop him all the way to the rear end of the field. So yeah, tough luck for him after a great defense early on. Then we're going to get ourselves back to the battle between Dan and myself once again for race 2, and this is where it's going to begin to get a little bit messy, or should I say not quite yet, but it is going to essentially heat up between the 3 cars you're seeing on screen there as the race goes on. It was rather quite funny, and we were all laughing about it. It's not really a league that we want to take too seriously. We want people to kind of, you know, enjoy it as essentially the second ranked league out of all 4 that we host. So Tommy Hawk, he's going to continue his great defensive driving into lap 4 with Shikata, who is going to come out on top here. Honestly, Tony did a brilliant job of holding him off for so long, and yeah, it was just great to see. Really just a massive turnaround from him, and yeah, really, you know, quite happy for him to see him do it so well in these early stages as the rest of the field just piles through there in the background. So up front, we've got myself in P2. We're on lap 8 now, with Jayce just behind, and after all the battles that myself and Jayce have had on track, he finally manages to put me in the gravel. Yeah, I mean, we've had battles for, you know, countless, almost a year now on track where we've never ever hit each other, and well, that one kind of just, you know, happened. So yeah, we're all going to kind of laugh it off, and then it's going to start to get a little bit Kimi like, as I just decided that I was completely frustrated and just a little bit kind of having a laugh with a few of my friends, and just deciding to just bump everyone. So we're going to give Jayce a little bit of a bump there on the way through, and just say, you know, that's thanks for earlier, and onwards we carry on in the race. And again, it's going to get a little bit more messed up with Dan later on. We're going to try and do a bit of a lunge here just to completely troll him, and you know, kind of just annoy him a little bit, and we're going to give him a little bump there in the rear. He did quite, you know, slow down quite a bit, to be honest, for that corner, so it wasn't as intentional as it might have looked. That is going to give us the position, but it is going to give him the slipstream, and I'm pretty sure he's going to come back at this one as we decide to weave in and out and just try and block it, and then block him, you know, entirely. So it is what it is. You know, we learn from the best. I've watched plenty of YouTube videos. I know exactly how to stop someone getting past me in the most Gran Turismo-like way, but we are essentially just going to give him enough room to just get that move done. You know, I'm just kind of being a bit silly at this point, and yeah, I'm not going to, you know, intentionally keep that position from him when I know he had much more pace than me down that straight. So a little bit later on, and well, we're going to try another move here As you can see, we're going to try and go straight as deep on the brakes as possible. This time actually keeping it clean as Dan leaves enough of a gap. However, he's going to try a bit of a switchback move there, and that's going to cause him to keep the position. And then we're finally going to have a bit of a slipstream to defend from Jayce. So it's a bit of a train going on, and then it's all hell going to break loose as we got onto lap 17, and we're just all bumping each other at this point. Jayce getting involved, giving me a bump, me bumping Dan, Jayce bumping Dan, and yeah, it's just complete chaos. We've all learnt from the videos that have been posted online. So yeah, if anything, we will aspire to be a bit like Kimi Velocini. I'm obviously joking, but yeah, there we go. It's all a bit of a cluster, and well, we did see Jayce kind of pushing down a little bit too much, so I just decided to give him a bit of a bump. I say a bit of it. I decided to absolutely wipe him out of the race and just give him a smack into the barrier, as we're all basically just talking crap to each other. Is what it is. I am actually going to pull over and, you know, hand the positions back here, because obviously, again, like I said, I'm just kind of messing around at this point. We know we're going to get another lap in, and that's going to allow us to essentially try and keep it as legit as possible, as I give them all a little bump on their way past. Obviously, I'm not going to lose all my momentum, but I am going to let them at least, you know, get in front by the end of the straight, and we can have that legitimate battle until the final flag. And Shikata is going to take the win. A very quiet race from him, but a great win. Turbo Boy takes P2, much better result than race 1 for him, and that continues his charge up the leaderboard. P3, and well, that one's going to go to Jayce himself, who eventually broke clear in the end, and me and Dan essentially just continue to troll each other across the line. So we do take P4, Dan takes P5, and P6 is going to go to Dave once again, so good result for him, very consistent. Tony finally finishes up in P7 after a great defensive driving with Nissan in P8. P9 is going to go to Jodie, probably not the result she wanted. She had much more pace in these minis than she has previously, qualifying I think overall a P6, so much better than usual. And finally the final position goes to Steve in P10. So that rounds up all of our races for round 2 at Sardegna Layout C. Fastest lap and bonus point goes to Shikata, as well as the race win with a 108.368, the fastest lap. And our driver of the day goes to Tony for that absolute defensive masterclass at the beginning of race 2, and just holding in there like I've never seen him hold in there before. A great improvement in the second race over the first race, so well done once again to him. So here's the leaderboards after round 2. It's going to be the standings, and obviously it's kind of, you know, expected since he's not missed a round. It's going to be Turbo Boy on 96 points, ahead 10 points ahead of Jayce on 86, Dan at 77, myself on 73, Dave, the best of the bronze drivers, with 69 points. 49 for Alexander, obviously missing this round. Tal or Nizam with 46. Shikata on 44 after his race win in his first round. Jody in 9th with 38. Archangel on 30 in P10. Steve 23 points in P11. And Tony making his debut with 20 points and 12th overall. So that is your standings for the Classic Mini Cooper Challenge after round 2. So we'll be going on to round 3 next. I'm sure it'll be just as jokes as it was for this round. I just want to give a big thank you to everyone that's tuned into this channel. I'm absolutely enjoying making these league videos, and I'm enjoying running the league at the minute. It's actually great fun to kind of just sit back and just relax with friends and just have a good time. So big thank you to everyone that makes these videos possible. Big thank you to all my league racers. If you do want to join, I'll have my website linked where you can sign up so we can point track you, as well as the Discord where you'll be for all of the updates, and you know, where you can check all the rounds and when the lobbies go up and such. So feel free to get involved. We're open to any skill level. Thank you so much for, I don't know, making GT7 enjoyable once again, and thank you for watching this NTRL video. I'll see you later, guys. Peace.